any shape, any form. Conjure up a storm cloud. It rains, it pours, let it fall down. Spirit dance, Cherokee, Blackfoot, put a pound to the ground. Two-step is all it took. Hey, I used to run from the sound of the drums. Cause spirit would hear it and spirit would come. African dance. Rhythm of the kink can be the sounds of life. But we should dance, got me moving in the trance. Circle motion got me going and going. African dance. African dance, African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. I used to run from the sound of the drums. The spirit would hear it, the spirit would come. I never felt this feeling before, but my body moving around like it already know. I just release, let go. All them burdens I've been bearing, I ain't carrying no more. I reach high, feel low. Let your chakras open up, let the feeling in your soul get high, feel low. Let your chakras open up, let the feeling in your soul. African dance, African dance, African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. Feel the rhythm of the kink and need the sounds of life. But we should dance, got me moving in the trance. Circle motion got me going and going. African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. African dance, African dance, African dance, hey. African dance, African dance, African dance. Just move, 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 make your body just move, 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 make your body just move, 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 your body just move, 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 move.
We'll be moving, okay? I got to
I love that.
shake my, shake
It
my
had me about
joints out.
head.
And get ready. Peace and love, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio, place where knowledge is born. This is your host, Knowledge is Born Online. And we got the mover. I put the mover song on, the African dance song, because we have one whose mind makes us move like that with her pen. She got some telepathical powers over our minds. She captivates our minds so much. She got verbal movies in book form. Okay, so when you read the books, you're like, is this a movie? Am I on TV? Like, where did I leave? I just teleported out of my circle space and into her world. Okay, she engulfs us into her world with her pen. So I had to move. That's why I'm still moving. So I'm trying to get back to me. Look, I'm trying to find my way back. Okay, and it's an honor and a privilege to have the special guest, my special request, who's a superhero, a part of this super team movement, a Tribe Called Success. So this is the Tribe Called Success series, and we have a phenomenal author here and a publisher here. She got so many hats. We're about to get into all of the hats right now. So it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to introduce some to others. Queen Ebony Farashuu. How you feeling today?
I am good, Knowledge. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay. I'm glad that you're here. Shout out to Queen Mother Elena for hooking us all together and bringing us here together. I'm excited for this exchange here. So, what point at your life did you decide to say, I'm going to mesmerize the world with my mind?
You know, I've been writing since I was a tiny girl. My father taught me to read when I was about 3 years old. So I've been reading and making up stories in my head ever since. My mother actually still has the first poem I ever wrote. And, you know, if I read it now, I'd be embarrassed to read it to anybody, but she has it laminated in a photo album because that's how proud she was of me. I've wanted to be a writer my entire life. I can't remember a time where I didn't want to be a writer.
Mm. So, what were you reading early on, and has your reading palette changed drastically
It
over the years?
has drastically changed over the years. Of course, you know, we all start off with like, you know, Dr. Seuss and that kind of thing. And then, you know, my mom and dad would tell me stories. They would use the different voices. They would be very
Mm.
animated. Um, as I grew older, especially I would say in middle school, I was reading a lot of stuff I had no business reading. I was reading Jackie Collins and, you know, I was reading Danielle Steele, Nora, you know,
Mm.
I was reading all of those authors. I was reading whatever I could get my hands on. And my mother allowed it because she was just glad that I liked to read. And as I moved into high school, I started reading more books geared towards a high school girl. But the one thing that all of those books had in common was that it was only white girls.
Mm.
All the heroines were white, all the characters were white. If there was a black character, there was only one, and that person was maybe at a boarding school on scholarship or something like that. You know, so it was never there were never any books with characters that looked like me, and so I started writing my own stories
Mm.
in high school with characters that looked like me.
So, what was that journey like on that pathway to find? It went from representation to finding your authentic voice tone in your
Hmm.
story. What was that journey like?
It was really crazy because honestly, I didn't think it could be done because I had
Mm.
never seen it. I had never
Mm.
seen it done, so I didn't think it could be done. I remember I was at the grocery store one day, and back in the day, I don't know if they still do this because I have grocery pickup now. But back in the day when I was a kid, in the checkout lane were all the impulse buys.
Right.
So when you would see like the romance book with the man ripping his shirt open and the candy and the
Right.
magazines, well, there was a
National
book.
Enquirer and all that other stuff.
Yes, yes.
All the
And one day,
tabloids.
exactly, exactly. But there was a book there one day, and it was a romance novel, and it had black people on the cover. And I
Mm.
could not believe it. And I had to buy that book. It was called Night Song by Beverly Jenkins, and she
Mm.
writes historical fiction. And I read that book in one day, and I realized I can write romance and I can get paid for it. And
Wow.
from that point on, I decided, okay, I'm going to write this book. And it took me years to get to a point in my life where I was able to actually write that book. But once I wrote that book, it was like giving birth to a baby. I have finally done something that I've wanted to do, and thank God for Beverly Jenkins for just that example of representation that she gave.
I love that. I love that. I figured out very well. I figured out, with my mother, our gift to each other was books.
Hmm.
So the way we communicated was through books. I was 7, and she gave me, books as a gift. And she figured out that the world was safe as long as I had a book in my hand. If I didn't have a book in my hand, the world wasn't safe.
Yeah, yeah,
So I was one of those children who tested all of the limits, and I found myself, secluded from the world for a little while, on punishment, stuff like that.
yes,
But my mother figured out that I was just reading. I would be in the room on punishment, reading all of the books, every book that I could find. So she gave me books and fed me intravenously in that spiritual connected space of mother and son through books. So books about ourselves, books about our history, read all of the black dictionaries, the black encyclopedias, everything that I could find on our people. So it was that connection among other things, that spawned an undying, unwavering love for Black people. So in the
That,
house, I didn't see outside the house, but in in the house it was great. So outside of the house is where the conflict came in. Like all
mhm.
these great people I'm reading about, I don't see them outside. They trying to take my sneakers outside. You know what I'm saying? So it was a tumultuous journey, but it's a beautiful struggle. And you write about Black love, and I
Black Earth.
made that segue because the first fiction book that I read as an adult was by Sister Soldier,
Mhm,
Coldest Winter Ever.
mhm,
And I read that book in a day. So similar to the story
mhm,
that you read it in a day. I read Coldest Winter Ever in a day, and I was on a high because I had all of the nonfiction, you know, militant reads, but I didn't get a chance to see what was in the fiction world
mhm.
in regards to Black writing until after that experience. That experience spawned the experience of reading Eric Jerome Dickey and Zane and Elin Harris and all of
Mhm.
the other authors that are in that great pantheon of great fiction. You see what I'm saying? So it was that catalyst along the way. And when I wanted to look at something serious, I went to the book clubs. I'm like, what are y'all reading? And, my Baba at the time, he said, hey, they're reading. If you want them to read something else, suggest something. And I
Mhm,
suggested The Spook Who Sat by the Door by Sam Bringley. And
mhm.
everybody read that. They was like, oh my goodness, this book was so great, I couldn't put it down. So it was like, it went from that scope of reading from one particular space or another, that had something, girl, did you read that? Oh my goodness, did you? Da, 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 da," to being, reading for information, reading for research, reading for motivation, reading for transformation. So, I said that in that space because I wanted to add in regards to this reading, writing journey,
Yes.
that you're given. So, why Black love?
Black love. Is there any love like Black love?
No.
I love watching Black men loving Black women fully,
Mm,
completely. And that is what I write about. There is nothing in this world, nothing on earth, in the universe, like Black love. And
mm.
so that is what I choose to write about. I have Black love. I'm writing about Black love.
Whew. Let the church say amen on that. I love that. I love that. So this journey in your mind, aside from your own relationship, where do you delve into to go? And are you satisfied or dissatisfied with the representation that is shown in the dominant media culture in regards to Black relationships, Black family, Black love, interpersonally, and the like? Are you good with that, or is this something that you?
You know, I feel like Black love is often treated as a myth.
Mm,
And it's not a myth. It is very, very real. Relationships where a Black man and a Black woman are loving each other completely. And it's just, it's almost like we always have to say, oh, well, Black men too, or Black women too. You know, no, also, we're not a unicorn.
mm,
We're real people, and we experience real emotions, and we love each other, and we have full and complete families. And I think a lot of times in the media, it's shown as something that's a far off possibility as opposed to something that is normal, whereas a complete family of another race is shown as normal. But if it's us, that couldn't possibly be normal. That couldn't possibly be real. And if we do show a Black man and a Black woman loving each other, then they have to be funny, because we really don't want to dig deep with you and get to know who you are for real. We want to laugh at you. We want you to entertain us. And so I am waiting for the day where it is just normal to represent Black love on TV, in the media, in the movies, and it just be a regular thing where it's not even a big deal made over it because that's just the norm. Because for a lot of us, most of the people I know, it's the norm.
So, do you have in mind some sort of series where you take in those stories, where you tell those stories? I know you write those stories, but chronicling the real life experiences in a visual space or in a written space where people are sharing some of their memoirs in regards to Black love and relationships, the things that aren't seen, so either the other races are telling our story in this jagged way, or we get behind the cameras in the script and we got to put some drama and all this extra stuff that's there, in regards to it, to kind of direct the space and give credence and light to the lives that are lived by regular Black people who are in love,
I
whose
would love,
story isn't
I would
told.
love to do that. The closest I've come to doing that is through my spoken word poetry, which I'm no
Mm,
longer a stage poet, but back in the day, before I wrote my first novel, I was a spoken word poet. I used to host an open mic on historical Greenwood at the Greenwood Cultural Center here in Tulsa,
mm,
Oklahoma, called Word on Greenwood.
mm.
And, people would just come together, and you will find with poetry that people are really spilling their guts through their pen onto their paper. Like you just vomit everything up, and you get into this space with perfect strangers, and you're able to convey those emotions with no shame, and it was beautiful. And so I found that through poetry, as far as getting close to telling true stories about Black love, because you have Black love, but you also have Black heartache, and I had to tell write poems about that too. So it was sometimes hard to get on the stage and spill my guts, but that was the place where I felt safest.
Mm.
I felt safest there.
Now I have to ask you a side question
Okay,
about Tulsa, Oklahoma, if that's okay. Don't
that's
slap me.
fine.
Don't
That is
slap me.
fine.
Uh, Recently, we saw the denial of the claims with that situation in
Yep.
regards to what happened, and I'm curious as to your thoughts in that regard.
You know, my grandmother was a
Mm,
survivor. Um, and she was actually one of the first plaintiffs
mm,
in the original case for reparations. And in my opinion, they're waiting for all of the survivors to die. There are only 3 left now.
right.
There were several when my grandmother was alive, but there are only 3 survivors left now. And they are waiting for them to die because I think they feel like when they die, there will be nothing else to discuss. But the thing is, we haven't forgotten. We're not going to let them forget because generations were affected by something that was done to our community purposely and strategically. And throughout that whole thing, even the people who lost homes, people who lost businesses, no one even received a payout from their insurance.
Mm,
They denied all of the claims. There was only one claim, I believe, that was not denied, and it was a white business owner who owned a pawn shop, and someone had broken into the pawn shop to take guns. That's the
mm.
only person who got a settlement. So, I could talk for a long time about my feelings about that particular decision because we've seen reparations come to everybody but us.
Right.
So I, you know what, you're gonna get me off on a tangent on that
Tangent,
because I am
please,
very,
please, please,
you know,
please, please, tangent. This
just
is the space for
thinking about
tangent.
what my grandmother went through as a
Mm,
child. Because keep in mind the survivors, most of the survivors, when the first lawsuit was made, most of them were children when this happened. And back then, we didn't have therapy. We didn't have psychologists and people that you could talk to your problems about. They just had to get over it. How can you get over something like that?
Right.
These children were scarred, and they had to grow up into adults to take care of more children living in a place that doesn't want them there. So there's so much to be said about it. That's a whole nother show. That's a whole nother show, knowledge.
I am here for it. So if you want to come back and you're looking for a place or two or
Absolutely.
three to speak that, I know, besides my platform, I know 3 or 4 other places you can go to share that story.
Well, you know,
Most
we recently
definitely.
had the centennial.
Right.
2021
Right.
was a centennial, and so they did have a there was like a lots of events surrounding it. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I'll start getting mad. This is the last thing I'm going to say about it. Joe Biden came.
Right.
And so everyone is across the street from the Greenwood Cultural Center waiting for his caravan to come through. And I'm standing there, and this white woman, she turns to me and she's so excited and she's smiling, and she's like, yeah, as soon as I heard about what happened here, I just had to come to the centennial. I just think this is so neat. And I said, you think my ancestors losing everything is neat? And she just kind of got this look, because it is not for your entertainment. This is something that really happened to us. It is not, and we're not playing, it's not for play. It's not a movie. It was real life. And people want to pretend like it didn't really happen, which is why most of y'all didn't even know about it until a couple of years ago. Okay, let's get off that.
All right. Segue back to the
Black
tribe.
love.
Right. Let's go back to Black Love.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Metamorphosis Ink Publishing. Let's talk about the Tribe Called Success, your involvement in this magnificent giveaway that you are part of.
Yes.
August 4th through the 6th. So please
Yes.
share with us.
Let's talk about that. Nalena Kai is awesome, and she has put together this awesome event where so many authors of color are coming together to provide, 1 or 2 of their books for free for those, the 4th through the 6th. So for those 3 days, you can get our books for free. And the book that I am offering is Slow Burn Deluxe Edition. And it is Deluxe Edition because Slow Burn was traditionally published by Kobalt Books, a small independent publisher. And I won a few awards for that book, which came as a surprise to me. Very, very powerful novel. But after writing that book and getting so many accolades for it, I went into a depression. I had a lot of things happening in my life. Life was lifing at that time, and I went into a deep depression where I could not find my creativity. And so I did not actually write another book for 13 years. And I wrote that next book, and then I published it, and I was very happy that I was able to do that. And I thought to myself, and that book was called Erica's Diary. And I thought to myself, what if I republished Slow Burn? What if I reread Slow Burn, looked through it, updated it for the current times, and then republished it on my own under my own publishing company? And so I called my old publisher, and we had a conversation, and he said, and I said, what do I need to do to get the rights back to my book? And he said, check your email. And I checked my email, and he had sent me everything. Just like that. Because number one, he wanted to see me win. And so I republished the book. I added bonus scenes, bonus poetry, revamped it for 2020, and then re-released it as Slow Burn Deluxe Edition. So Deluxe Edition, you're getting more than you did with the first Slow Burn. And that is the book that I will be giving away during the event for Tribe Called Success.
I love it. I love it.
That's my baby.
I want my order. I don't know about y'all. Okay, I want the free book, but I want this autograph. Look, this is autograph paper. Look, let me tell you something. Okay, I'm getting a deluxe edition. Okay.
Yes,
Look.
absolutely.
I need that.
Absolutely. You can definitely get autographed copies of the paperback from my website, because what we're giving away is going to be actually the ebook. For me, it's going to be the Kindle version of that book.
Okay, I'm getting autograph books.
I
Autograph. It's something about an autograph that it does something different for me. Okay?
don't make it just feel special.
Yeah,
You don't
I'm
even
like,
want to loan it out.
no, I no. Mm-mm. Get your own, fam. Okay, get your own. This mine right here. Yes, I love this. I love it. I love it. I love it. So your publishing company
Yes,
came out of this desire to tell your own story in your own
absolutely.
language and in your own lane.
Yep.
So
And
are
you
you
tell your
looking
own
to,
stories, nobody can tell you how to tell them.
are you looking to incorporate other authors in, or have you done it already?
I have not done it already, and I'm not sure if I will. It's a lot of responsibility. Um, and at this point, it's so easy to self-publish now. There are so many tools that you can use to self-publish that for me right now, there's no advantage to even trying to be traditionally published or trying to publish someone else. Um, I just want to write my stories and tell my stories. And Metamorphosis Ink represents the changes that I went through to get to where I am today. Farashuu means butterfly. So Ebony Farashuu is a black butterfly. And I went through this metamorphosis, and here's where I am. So I don't think I'll be publishing anyone else's books. I'm always open to talk to authors about their journey. But for right now and for my mental health, I just need to focus on me.
I love that. I mean, the beautiful thing about it is you know yourself. You know, it's not like, all right, I'm trying to do all of this for everybody and everything
Mhm.
because you got to take care of you. So I
You
think
have
that's
to pour
beautiful.
into yourself. And that's something I learned the hard way. But you have to pour into yourself. Otherwise, you can't pour into anybody else.
So I want to ask you about this super tribe situation that you are a part of. You know, all of the superheroes over there at a
Yes.
tribe called Success. Like, how did you get connected, and what's your experience been like thus far?
It's been such a great experience. Nalena Kai is a genius. I will say that she's a genius. I've been watching her from afar for a very, very long time and just wondering, how does she do everything that she does? It's amazing. And I've always not had as much confidence in myself that I can do what she does. But when she presented this opportunity and opened it up to authors, I jumped at the chance to work with her and to learn from her. And I'm learning, how to set aside time for what I want, make time for what I want. And so I'm just thankful to her for even offering me this opportunity and accepting me into it, because she's not accepting everybody. She's being very selective because she wants to make sure that everything that she puts her name on is quality work. And so that's another thing that makes me feel like, well, wow, she's let me in. So I will always be thankful to her for that. This is an awesome opportunity for all of the authors involved. And I think a lot of the authors involved would not have the publicity or no one would know who we were a lot of the times without this, because it's very hard for us to get into those spaces. And so she's making that space, which I think is awesome.
I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay. So I'm gonna get in your business for
Okay.
the question before the last question.
Okay.
What is your black love story?
you know, my black love story has some twists and turns that I never even expected.
Mm.
Um, I've gotten married very young. I was 22. Now, when I was 22 back then in 1995, different than 22 in 2023. We were grown. But even now, looking back on it, I'm like, wow. was very, very, very young. I did not know who I was. He didn't know who he was either. And we had 2 children, 2 beautiful children together. And we eventually, had to part ways for reasons that I won't go into, but it scarred me. I was very hurt. And I went into that depression, which is the reason why I was 13 years from one book to the next. I went to a very deep depression. I had no idea who I was or what I was doing, and I had to find myself again. I had to fall in love with me. So the first black love the first pure black love I ever experienced, besides the first time holding my children, was the pure black love I found for myself. I had to find that love for myself. And once I did that, I found my husband, my current husband. I don't want to say current, my forever husband. And
Okay.
yeah, and I never thought I would get married again. That was never in my plan. I would have a boyfriend, but I'm never getting married. And he was like, I'll have a girlfriend, but I'm never getting married. And the next thing you know, here we are in Jamaica getting married.
Hey.
So, finding self-love made me recognize a love that I deserved. And without self-love, we don't recognize what we deserve, and we're willing to accept anything just to feel like we have somebody. But when you love yourself, you're not accepting just anything, because you want what's best for you. And I have found what is best for me, and my creativity is flowing, and I am just in a peaceful place in my life.
I love that. How did y'all meet, if you don't mind me asking?
We met at work, which is just really funny. We met at work. And I've been working in the same place for 24 years. He's probably been there like 35 years. And we had never even really interacted with one another besides seeing someone in the hallway. You see another black person, you nod or you say hello. So it was more of a hello, goodbye type of thing. But just years and years later, we ended up talking one day, and we were both single. And he asked me if I had ever taken dance classes, salsa dance classes. And I was like, no, I've never done that. And he was like, well, I'm taking these salsa lessons. You can come over and I can teach you the basics, and then we could take classes together. So,
go ahead, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
It was a good move over here, okay?
It was a good move because we never got to those lessons, but we got to each other. And the rest is history.
They salsa in real life, okay?
Yeah. But he is just somebody I'm going to tell you, it's one thing to find someone who loves you and is in love with you. But this man likes me. He likes me. He genuinely cares about what I have to say. I make him laugh. He makes me laugh. It's just completely different from the first marriage, because you can love somebody, and I think he probably did love me in his way, but he didn't like me. And when somebody doesn't like you, but when someone likes you and they love you at the same time, there's just something about that this person is interested in what you have to say, because for so long I thought I talked too much. I was always told you talk too much and blah, 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 to the point where when I would be having conversations with him my husband sometimes were telling him things, and I would stop all of a sudden and say, am I talking too much? I'm sorry. He was like, no. I like listening to you talk. That's it. This is it for me. He is everything. Everything. And I'm everything. I love him and I love me at the same time.
I love that. Y'all need a series, okay? Y'all need a series, okay?
We need a reality show.
Right, something from salsa to Jamaica, okay? I need to know the steps, okay?
Right.
From salsa to Jamaica, okay? I love that. Black love is real, okay?
It is.
I love that.
Don't let nobody tell you any different.
Right. So the last question we have, and I'm thankful for the time that you spent. So hopefully I can get you back on, and we can discuss Tulsa, and
Oh
we can
yeah,
discuss some more Black love topics and things like
yeah,
that.
I
Uh,
would love that.
so this last question I asked Elena earlier, and she gave me, see what had happened was balance, self care, making you a priority. Are those things a priority in your life, and what's one example of that you can share?
Self-care is the priority
Mm,
in my life. Self-care comes before anything or anybody. Because if I'm not okay, nobody else can be okay. And if I'm not happy, believe me, nobody else is going to be happy.
mm,
So I have to take care of myself. I do that through meditation. I do that through grounding. I love, one of my neighbors commented, every time I see you, you're barefoot. Yes, because I love the way the grass feels under my feet. I stand outside. I know my neighbors think I'm crazy. I stand outside in my backyard with my eyes closed and just sway because that's where I get my energy from. I pull my energy from the sun, and I use it in every aspect of my life. I'm a healer. And
mm,
so I pull my energy from the atmosphere. So meditation and grounding, and those are the things that I do for myself that makes me able to do things for other people. I fill my tank first before I drive this car, if that makes any sense.
perfect sense. A healer. Okay, so I need a little insight in the
Okay.
healing modality services that you provide.
So you know what? It's just something that I do. It's just something that I know how to do. Um, I know things. I don't know why, I don't know how, but I know them when I need to know them. And I am able to heal through energy. And it's something that I discovered about myself a few years ago. I did not know that I had these spiritual gifts. I don't talk about my spiritual gifts to everyone because there are a lot of people that I just can't give that part of myself to, because they feel like it's evil, or it's
Mhm.
you're a witch, or it's satanic, and these types of things. And so I don't even know why I'm telling you, but I'm very cautious about who I talk to about my spiritual gifts. But when it was revealed to me that I had these gifts, all of a sudden things even from childhood started making sense, and the way that I write started making sense, because my writing is driven by emotion. I
Mm,
write from pure emotion. And so many people have told me that, oh my God, I was just crying when I read this part, or I was laughing when I read this part, or I felt all heated when I read this part. That's because that's how I felt when I was writing it. I pour my soul into everything that I write and give to the public. And I find that my healing is through, not only through my energy, but a lot of times my healing is through my words. I have a book called Damien's Windsor, and a woman told me that after she read that book, she went and got therapy because she realized that to get to where she wanted to be and to find the love that she wanted to love, she needed to go to therapy so that she could learn how to have a good relationship with herself. So
mm.
so it's not only healing through, my energy and through my hands, it's also healing through my words, through my pen.
Talk.
We'll have a healing session. You and I will have a healing session.
We just had one. We just had one. Okay, this has been a healing journey. Okay, look. I love it. I love this. I love the work that you're doing and how you in the spirit of service to be called, but selective service. You know, they got a new word out here called selective outrage, and everybody's running around with it. Selective service is another thing. Like, yeah, you're not just out here for everything and everybody, but for those who are deemed worthy, and it's no
Exactly.
material injury to you or to your
Not
family. I think that's
everybody is worthy to have access to your energy. And before you give your
mm,
energy to anybody, ask your spirit if it's okay. Your spirit will let you know if it's okay to give your energy to that person. Too many times we are depleted because we are giving energy to the wrong people, to the wrong places, to the wrong things. Ask your spirit. Your spirit will never lie to you.
I love it. Final thoughts. You got acknowledgement, shout outs, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to plug. I'm going to put your website up here one more
I definitely
again.
want to thank Nalena for hooking me up with you. And I want to thank you for having me on the show. And like Snoop Dogg, I want to thank me because I went through a lot to get to be the person that I am today. You know, I got to thank God. But I thank everybody who reads my books, everybody who loves my books, and everybody who feels something when they read a work by Ebony Farashuu. So I hope that in gaining the free book, the free copy of Slow Burn, that it will lead you to explore my other books.
Yes, and the link will be in the description of this episode.
And definitely, if you want autographed copies, go to my website. You can order those. I try to mail those things out. If I get your order on a Friday, I'm trying to mail that book out to you on a Friday because I never want someone to feel like they're waiting on me.
I love it. I'm getting mine. Okay, so I don't know what to tell y'all. Okay, I might feel generous and get a couple of books to give away to somebody. But
I tell you what, Knowledge, if you order the book, what I'm going to do for you, I have a book called Damien's Windsor, and when you put your order in for Slow Burn, I'm going to send you a copy of Damien's Windsor also, and some merchandise that goes along with that book, because in that book is about a soap. She's an artisan soap maker, and I had those soaps created. So what I'll do is I'll send you those soaps along with that book as well.
I love it. I love it. Ha! See y'all, I'm getting spoiled over here. Mind your business. Okay. Black love is real. Okay.
It is real. Get you some.
Yeah. And I will reach out to you about these other platforms because there's some layers in regards to that, and there's some people who are very interested in hearing that story, because all we know, we've been spoon-fed and miseducated about in regards to an atrocity such as that. You know, they're looking to write slavery out of the history books, and all kinds of stuff is happening. And you know, this is one of those spaces where a pivotal transition in our history here in America is being erased as well, along with the inhabitants, you know, lives being torn apart and all of that. So yeah, definitely I'll reach out to some platforms that I know.
Definitely.
And another place for you to promote Black love. Black love is supposed to be all over the universe.
Because we need it. I'm gonna tell you one thing before I go. There can be no other love without Black love.
That's right.
Because we built this country.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So I thank you for your time. I thank you for coming through and showing Black love personified, and the gifts and the jewels and the wisdom that you shared with us is remarkable. And look forward to the next interaction. The 4th to the 6th.
Yes.
Queen Mother is giving out books. She's giving a book away, okay?
Yes.
To you. So come be a part of greatness and, you know, spread that Black love across the world.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate this.
All right. You enjoy your evening.
You too.
I got the power I share. Hell, all I do my red. Flow change like oh yeah. To my fans, more bread. Traffic and African rituals. I know it's far from typical. I know they calling it mythical. I just be calling it mystical. Whoa, black magic with white fabric, they petrified. I see through the ancestors' eyes. You can't see it cause you rest your eyes. My chain hang for Ogun. That bling's lit, I'm in tune. That high is in the air, boy. That smoke fills up that room. I'm consumed. I laugh at y'all. Grant my people with good health. Don't talk about it, but I live it, boy. You grant my folks with plenty wealth. I walk the path of that shoe. Then they reciting no do. 2 mouths up and 2 mouths down. Got balance made in my view. Oh yeah, bring your wind to change. Power down, I share. Arun Miller, give me purpose. Power down, I share. Throw my OBs to my head. Power down, I share. Read my old do eat by daily. Power down, I share. Egun got me. Ori got me. Olarun got me. Soru got me. Ebo got me. Ajuban got me. Baba Wa got me. Iyawa got me. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Aki, I am the sun in the moon. Still I blow like a June. Ori prayer in the morning. Hands up all around. 4 pots for a goon. See my grits in the room. Throw the shells to the plate. Menchi and Della goon. 5 chains on my neck. The Illegate they reflect. Y'all speak, oh yeah, cool. Translation as death. Sprinkle a little I J. All that room from an E.E. Ray. Akina Moran, I'm blowing my hand. I'm pitching the sand. Whoa! Treat the Obi, stand with my Ile Loki. Warrior type, I'm like a trophy. Shango power, come approach me. That's thunder. For the spirit I conjure. Wake 'em up from that slumber. Right? You just call my number. Oh yeah, bring your wind to change. Power down, I share. Arun Miller, give me purpose. Power down, I share. Throw my OBs to my head. Power down, I share. Read my old do eat by daily. Power down, I share. Egun got me. Ori got me. Olarun got me. Soru got me. Ebo got me. Ajuban got me. Baba Wa got me. Iyawa got me. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. I go OB, I go OB, I go OB, yo. Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Ele Mokio, Aki, yeah.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a African. I'm a. Let's get
And
back
that
to
motive
the
is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.